Welcome back to Talk Tensors. You know us. We love to unpack the latest and greatest in machine learning research.
And today...
And today we have a paper that really caught our eye.
It did.
It's called a Rate-Distortion Framework for Summarization.
Yeah, this one's pretty interesting.
Yeah, this paper is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Because it takes a concept from information theory, something usually applied to compressing files, and applies it to understand how good any summarizer can theoretically be.
Yeah, so...
Like, how good can we actually get?
What's really cool about this paper is that it's not just theoretical.
Right.
It actually offers practical implications for how we evaluate summarization tools.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
So where do we even begin with this Rate-Distortion framework? What's the basic idea?
Imagine you're trying to pack for a trip, but you only have a small suitcase.
Okay.
You want to bring everything you need, but you also need to make sure it all fits.
Right.
That's the essence of the rate distortion trade-off.
Yeah.
In summarization, the rate refers to how concise the summary is,
Okay.
while the distortion refers to how much information is lost compared to the original text.
So it's like a balancing act.
Exactly.
A shorter summary means a higher rate, but potentially more distortion, and a longer summary means a lower rate, but less distortion.
Exactly.
Okay.
And what the authors of this paper do is define a function called the summarizer rate distortion function.
Uh-huh.
This function tells us the theoretical limit of how much distortion we have to accept for a given rate.
So it's like a benchmark for summarization.
It is.
We can use it to see how close existing summarizers are to achieving the best possible performance.
Yeah,
That's pretty powerful.
it is.
To calculate this function, they draw inspiration from communication theory,
Right.
specifically the concept of channel capacity.
Uh-huh.
Channel capacity.
Yeah,
Okay, now you're going to have to break that down for me.
sure.
I'm picturing TV channels,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a feeling that's not quite what we're talking about here.
Not quite. Think of it this way. In communication, you have a sender who wants to transmit a message to a receiver.
Mhm.
The channel is the medium through which the message is sent, and there's always some noise or interference that can distort the message.
Right.
Channel capacity is the maximum amount of information that can be reliably transmitted through that channel.
So how does that relate to summarization?
Well, the authors of this paper make a clever analogy.
Okay.
They treat the original text as the message,
Right.
the summarizer as the channel,
Okay.
and the summary as the received message.
Okay.
The idea is that there's always going to be some, noise or loss of information when you try to condense a longer text into a shorter summary.
I see. So the summarizer rate distortion function is like the channel capacity for summarization.
Yeah,
It tells us the maximum amount of information we can cram into a summary of a given length without losing too much meaning.
exactly. Now, calculating this function isn't exactly a walk in the park, especially when you're dealing with massive text data sets, like the one they used in the paper, CNN Daily Mail.
Yeah, that data set is huge.
It's massive.
I can only imagine the computational challenges involved in analyzing all that data.
Yeah, it's a beast.
Right.
To tackle this, they use a few clever tricks.
Okay.
First, they use language models to represent the text in a continuous vector space.
Okay.
Think of it like taking each article and turning it into a point on a map where similar articles are clustered closer together.
So instead of dealing with individual words and their probabilities,
Right.
they're working with these abstract representations of the whole text.
Exactly.
That seems like it would simplify things a lot.
It does.
Okay.
And to further streamline the analysis, they assume that these representations follow a Gaussian distribution,
Okay.
which allows them to leverage some handy mathematical properties to
Right.
make the computation more efficient.
Okay. So they've made some simplifying assumptions and used some fancy math to calculate this summarizer rate distortion function. But what do they actually find? Does this theoretical framework hold up in the real world?
That's the exciting part. They compared their theoretical calculations to the actual performance of popular summarizers like BART and PEGASUS,
Okay.
and found that the rate distortion function does seem to serve as a plausible lower bound.
So it's like they've created a yardstick for measuring how good a summarizer can theoretically be.
Yeah.
This means we can stop chasing unrealistic expectations
Right.
and focus on what's actually achievable.
Exactly.
I'm seeing some real-world implications here.
Absolutely. This framework gives us a new way to evaluate and compare different summarization approaches,
Yeah.
moving beyond simple metrics like ROUGE scores.
Mm-hmm.
It helps us understand the inherent limits of summarization and set realistic expectations for what these tools can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is a cool paper.
That is a cool paper.
Yeah. This whole rate distortion idea, it's fascinating. But it got me thinking, what if we could take this rate distortion framework and personalize it?
Yeah, you're reading my mind. That's exactly where I wanted to go next.
Really?
Yeah, what if we could personalize it?
Yeah.
Imagine a summarizer that knows your reading style, your background knowledge,
Yeah.
even your current goals.
Uh-huh.
It could adjust the rate and distortion on the fly to create a summary that's perfectly tailored to your needs.
We're talking about a personalized summarizer rate distortion function.
Whoa.
A system that learns how much detail you need to grasp a concept, how much conciseness you prefer.
Uh-huh.
It's like having a personal research assistant who pre-digests information.
Right.
Just the right amount for what you need.
Okay, I'll bite.
Okay.
Let's say we actually managed to create these hyper-personalized summarizers.
Yeah.
What would that world look like? What are some of the second-order effects we might see?
Well, one possibility is that it could dramatically accelerate learning and knowledge acquisition. Imagine being able to quickly absorb the key insights from dense research papers or complex technical documents, even if you're not an expert in the field.
It would be like having a universal translator for complex information.
Exactly.
Yeah, that could be a game changer for education, research, even just staying informed about the world.
But of course, with any powerful technology, there are potential downsides to consider.
Right.
What if these personalized summarizers reinforce our existing biases?
Oh, interesting.
If we're only ever exposed to information that aligns with our preconceived notions, it could lead to even greater polarization and fragmentation in society.
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
We've already seen how filter bubbles and echo chambers can create these isolated information ecosystems.
Right.
Personalized summarizers could amplify that effect, leading to a world where people are living in completely different realities.
Exactly. It highlights the importance of designing these systems responsibly and ensuring that they expose users to diverse perspectives, even if those perspectives challenge their existing beliefs. We need to strike a balance between personalization and promoting critical thinking.
So it's not just about creating summarizers that are technically sophisticated.
Right.
It's also about considering the social and ethical implications of these technologies.
It is.
We need to think carefully about how they might shape our understanding of the world and our interactions with each other.
Absolutely. This isn't just a technical challenge.
Right.
It's a societal one as well.
All right, before we get too lost in these potential dystopian scenarios, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the exciting research directions this paper opens up.
Okay.
Remember our novel notions segment?
Oh, yes. Time to unleash our inner mad scientists and brainstorm some wild ideas.
Exactly. Where do we want to take this idea of personalized summarization? Well, one thought that popped into my mind is, what if we could create a summarizer that not only adapts to your preferences, but also helps you learn and grow over time?
Oh, interesting.
Like a personal tutor that guides you through increasingly complex information.
Interesting idea.
Yeah. It could start by providing very basic summaries,
Right.
tailored to your current level of understanding, and then gradually increase the complexity and depth as you progress. It could even recommend related articles or resources to further your exploration.
It would be like having a personalized learning path that evolves with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine a student using this tool to grasp complex scientific concepts.
Right.
Or a professional staying up to date on the latest advancements in their field.
It could revolutionize education and professional development,
Ditto.
but building such a system would require significant advances in areas like adaptive learning and natural language understanding.
Yeah.
We'd need algorithms that can not only summarize effectively, but also assess a user's comprehension level and dynamically adjust the content accordingly.
Right. It's a tall order, but the potential payoff is huge.
It is.
If we could create a system that truly personalizes learning, it could make knowledge acquisition more efficient, engaging, and accessible to everyone.
Absolutely.
So we've been exploring this fascinating paper on a rate distortion framework for summarization.
Yeah.
And it's really opened up some thought-provoking avenues.
It has.
From understanding the theoretical limits of any summarizer to imagining a future with personalized learning paths.
Right.
It feels like we've only scratched the surface.
Yeah, it's amazing how a seemingly simple idea like the rate-distortion trade-off can lead to such profound implications. Makes you realize that even in the age of advanced AI, there are fundamental constraints that we need to grapple with.
It's like we've uncovered this hidden law of information.
Right.
You can't have perfect conciseness without sacrificing some detail.
Exactly.
It's a bit humbling, actually.
Oh, it is.
But also exciting because it forces us to be more intentional about how we summarize and consume information.
I completely agree. It underscores the importance of human judgment and critical thinking.
Right.
We can't simply rely on algorithms to do the thinking for us.
Right.
We need to understand the limitations of these tools and use them responsibly.
This whole conversation has really shifted my perspective on how I evaluate summarization tools.
Yeah.
It's not just about how fluent or grammatically correct the output is.
Right.
It's about understanding the trade-offs that are being made and whether those trade-offs align with my needs and goals.
Exactly. This rate distortion framework gives us a new lens through which to view summarization.
Right.
It's not just about generating shorter versions of text. It's about understanding the fundamental relationship between conciseness and information preservation.
And that brings us back to our earlier discussion about personalized summarization.
Right.
If we can create systems that adapt to individual preferences and learning styles, it could truly revolutionize the way we access and process information.
Imagine a world where everyone has a personalized learning companion that guides them through complex topics.
Right.
Adjusting the level of detail and providing tailored explanations.
Yeah.
It could democratize knowledge in a way we've never seen before.
It's a powerful vision.
It is.
And one that I think is worth striving for.
Yeah.
But it also comes with a responsibility to ensure that these systems are designed ethically.
Of course.
And used in ways that benefit society as a whole.
Absolutely.
We need to be mindful of the potential for bias, misinformation, and the reinforcement of existing inequalities.
It's crucial that we have these conversations now.
Yeah.
As these technologies are being developed to ensure that they are used for good and not for ill.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this episode of Talk Tensors.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the theoretical foundations of summarization to the potential societal implications of personalized learning.
It's been a truly insightful journey. I hope our listeners have gained a deeper appreciation for the complexities of summarization and the exciting possibilities that lie ahead.
And as always, we encourage you to continue exploring, questioning, and learning.
Yes.
Until next time.